Hey! Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. If this is your first time joining me, this is the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. I am your host, Carla Renata. Please click the bell below for notifications. And if you've never heard of me before and you don't know who I am a actress and a film critic. I recur on the NBC sitcom Superstore. I guest star there. And I am a film critic. I belong to the AAFCA Association, the OAFFC, the AWFJ, the Broadcast Film Critics Association, and so much more. Today, I have a very, 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 very special guest with me. I'll get to him in just a second, but I want to talk about the DC fandom toward the end of the show, and I have a review of the personal history of David Copperfield, Skin, a bunch of other films. I'll get to that list in a second. But before I get to any of that, let me also say that I have a special interview with Rosalind Eleazar, who is one of the co-stars of the personal history of David Copperfield. But until we get to all of that, y'all, before we get to all of that, let me just introduce my guest. His name is KeithDavid, and he is an Emmy-winning actor. He's been Tony nominated, and I'll let him tell you more about himself when I bring him onto the screen right now.
Hey.
Hi, Keith.
What's happening?
What's going on, bub?
Hey, I'm just chilling, doing Sunday.
You said chilling doing Sunday. Oh, you are funny to me. So I just like to check in with everybody before we go live and everything. How have you been during this time of uncertainty and in quarantine, no less?
I've been quarantining just like everybody else. I had a job. I had a job the week which started the end of February and went into the first and second week of March, and that's when the pandemic seemed to hit. So on March 11th, we shut down, and I was sent home March 12th. So I've been home since March 12th, and this was the last season of Greenleaf. So for the past 4 seasons, I have been away 6-7 months of the year. Anyway, so this was actually the first time in years that I've been home. I mean, at home for longer than 2 or 3 months. And so, I mean, I was, enjoying being with my family. And it's funny because, I'm also taking a couple of college courses. So,
what are you taking? I need to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, I'm taking a seminary course. So,
oh, wow. Look at you.
So the work has had me at home in my office most of the time, mostly reading and writing about my reading. So, I mean, that's been that. So they were teasing me about, I see you more when you're away than when you're home,
That seems to be the general consensus of a lot of people who are blessed enough to work as often as you. You spend so much time out there, bringing home the bacon, so to speak, that you're hardly ever there. And so I'm sure it was a adjustment for everybody, you being there.
Listen, 6 months later, it continues to be an adjustment. Because I mean, I got 2 young daughters. So living with 3 women. It all sounds so alluring until you have to do it. And it's been really quite wonderful because I get to know them differently, and everybody's grown up now. Everybody's grown, and and we've all grown differently. I mean, thank God we haven't grown apart, but we're all growing and in different areas of our lives. So we have to get used to that.
Yeah.
And it does take some getting used to, I mean, and it takes adjusting and readjusting. But the main adjustment is the willingness to adjust.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I mean, that counts more than any of it. Because if you're unwilling to adjust, then you might as well,
Yeah, that's a problem.
it's a problem.
That can potentially be a problem. Now, we've been friends for a minute, and we'll talk about Greenleaf in a minute, but I want to talk about something that I read about you that I hollered when I read it. I read that your career started out by you wanting to be the Cowardly Lion, and there's nothing cowardly about you. So, so that was pure comedy to me. And I
I,
just want to
I,
know how you went from the Cowardly Lion to being a Tony and Emmy, a Tony nominated actor and an Emmy winning actor.
I actually was the Cowardly Lion. That was my first part. I was in the fifth grade. I was 9 years old,
Aw.
and I played the Cowardly Lion. It was so funny because at the time, my grandfather had just passed away,
Mm.
and and there's that the lion is kind of crying in front of the wizard, you know. And so I asked my teacher, "Am I supposed to really cry?" Because all I had to do at that time was think about my granddad, and tears could flow. But
Aw.
one of the things that you learn, or one of the things that I've learned as an actor, it ain't about crying or not crying. It ain't about
Mm.
trying to emote, you know. And certainly, if you draw from the same source all the time, eventually it dries up.
Mm.
Because I mean, because my grandfather died when I was so young, I went through a big period about 25 years later when I couldn't remember what he looked like.
Mm.
It caused me great sadness.
I bet that's very disturbing.
Also, because the last time I saw him, which was Christmas Day when I was 9, uh, he was so angry with me and my cousin. He was so angry with us. He said, "I'm through with you." Just yeah, no. And my brother's name is Gregory. He said, "Gregory, he's my man, but I'm through with you." And he was
Oh.
pissed off, and that's all I could remember. That's all I could think of. And so, I mean, I've carried that burden with me for 25 years.
Oh.
That he died not loving me and mad at me, and then I try to do a lot of self uh, soul seeking, self knowledge kind of thing. So I took a rebirthing session,
Mm-hmm.
and the session was on forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So you go through this breathing process. It's called ecstasy breathing, and you can in fact have an out of body experience.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, going back to the Wizard of Oz, after 25 years, suddenly in the middle of that session, my grandfather's face appeared to me in the sky, and his head was like the head of the Wizard of Oz.
Oh Lord.
And he looked at me and he said, "What's the matter with you? Of course I love you."
Oh.
And I wept like a baby.
Oh.
Hours. I cried for hours. But it lifted 25 years off of my soul. It was such a whoo.
Ooh, that's a deep. Now, child, when I asked you about the Cowardly Lion, I was not expecting that deep answer. I, I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. Wow, that's deep. That is deep. Woo. You got me over here about to cry. Let me get it together. Ooh, I'm about to. Ooh, I can't stand you, KeithDavid. Why you do that to me on a Sunday afternoon? Ooh, ooh. But thank you for sharing that. That's a very powerful, powerful story, and it speaks to the strength and the power that someone's spirit has within you long after their physical being is no longer here. So, I think everybody will probably take that and so much more away from that story. So thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate you. Now, we have a chat room with this little podcast, and I'm going to get to that question that Michael B has in a second. But I just want to talk about the fact that you did 60 episodes, 5 years of Greenleaf at OWN. What was the most memorable moment that you had shooting the show, and what was your most memorable episode that you can recall?
I mean, there's no simple answer to that question.
I know.
Because first of all, I had the time of my life. From the time I was 9 years old, getting to play the Cowardly Lion. From there, I knew I wanted to be an actor before that, but that's the first real play I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I knew I wanted to be an actor. And my music teacher and one of the other music teachers at the school encouraged me to audition for the High School of Performing Arts, which I did, and I got in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started studying acting formally. Although my first acting school was the Harlem School of the Arts, and I started that, around 11, 12 years old.
I lived right around the corner from that when I lived up in Harlem.
All right.
I did 146 between St. Nick and Convent.
Oh, well, that's down the street. My grandmother, my grandmother lived between 140th and 141st, and St. Nick, right across the street. So, I can really say, for most, if not all of my life, I've been living my dream.
Aww.
That's what I wanted to do.
That's special because not everybody can say that.
Yeah, I mean,
not everybody can
more
say that.
So. It was even more so when Greenleaf, because I played preachers many times.
Yes.
And priests and whatever. But when I was a child, at 7 years old, I wanted to be a preacher because we used to do this. We used to do these street evangelism.
Oh no!
Going to trying to recruit Christians, people to come to the church. And I remember once when the teacher wrote on my report card, "You better tell this boy to stop trying to convert these Jewish."
That is pure comedy. I could just see. Did you have on a little suit?
No. I mean, I was in my school stuff. I mean, I would maybe when we went out on a Sunday, if we went on a Sunday. But I remember it was a black puppeteer, which was again sort of like, here's a brother and he's a puppeteer,
right?
And so I was happy to be on the street with him. And the one thing that I remember the most was he would do this show and you remember like Sonny Fox on Wonderama and whatever that those shows. He had a big like drawing pad, and he'd be on stage with this drawing pad, and it would say CH CH, and he would ask the audience, "Do you know what's missing from church today?" You are.
Oh no, just guilting people into stuff. Oh, that is wrong. That is so wrong.
For me, it was so clever. I mean, it was so clever. So when I'd go and try to get my friends to and some of them wouldn't just didn't believe. I would tell them that they were going straight to hell, but
see, you were guilting them too. You ain't right. You are not right.
Who knew? But there are ways of going about that. Now, you just have to live by example.
Yes. My God, you're a pure comedy. I cannot with you. I cannot with you today. I can't. Let me ask this question for you from Michael B. But everybody know what I know. Everybody might not know, but you are one of like the premier to go to voice talents in the industry for video games and everything else. And I know a little something about voiceovers because I do promos and network trailers and stuff too. But
Mhm.
for us to be voiceover talent in a world that wasn't set up for us says something that both of us are able to do it, and especially for you because you've been doing it for a minute. So having said that, Michael B wants to know if you've heard rumors about the Gargoyles remake, and would you be interested in reprising your role as Goliath?
I've heard some. There's been
Rumblings.
there's been rumblings about it for years. I,
Mm.
I hope Jordan Peele has made some inquiries about it, and I hope that they give it to him. I think it still is in Disney's jurisdiction.
Okay.
And I hope they do it. And would I do it? I would do it in a New York heartbeat.
All right.
Goliath was one of my very favorite characters of all time. I mean, when I grow up, I want to be like Goliath.
You know what my favorite character of yours is, just because I'm a Disney head, is Dr. Facilier in The Princess and the Frog, honey.
Another one of my
You were
favorites.
evil at its best in that. I loved it. I just loved it. I did. Um, so having said all of that, what would you say? How do you feel about being one of the most recognizable voices in the world? Because you are. Your voice is very recognizable.
You know, all I can say is thank you, God. I cannot speak on that really. There are a lot of voices out there.
There are, but Keith, come on now. So I'm gonna give you your flowers. Look.
Praise God. Praise God. I work. And I work a lot.
Look, I'm gonna give you your flowers while you here and while I got you face to face because we friends and I'm gonna go there. So let's just break it down. Your voice is one of the most premier voices in the world. Michael B is absolutely right on the money, right when he says that. That is the God's honest truth. But let me give you some flowers about some other things. You got a Tony nomination for Jelly's Last Jam. I saw you in that. You were fierce. Fierce. That was before I met you, but you were so good. You got a 2005 Emmy for Outstanding Voiceover Performance for Unforgivable Blackness, The Rise and Fall of Jack Johnson. You got another Emmy in 2008 for Outstanding Voiceover Performance for The War, for the episode A Necessary War. And then you got another Emmy in 2018 for Outstanding Narrator for Jackie Robinson on PBS. Brother, look now, that is something. Not everybody can walk around with that behind their name, and you can. So I know you being humble and all that, but you are the bomb.com, and I'm just going to give you your flowers while we're here. Okay? Let's just call a spade and just say that that's what it is. But I also wanted to talk about this recurring role that you did on Amphibia for Disney. Talk to me about Amphibia. I'm very interested about this.
It's a great little series. It's just a lot of fun and magic and it's fun. It tracks these people on a journey and I'm along for the ride. It's been a great ride so far.
Aww.
And I don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I know these things come and go. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It went from one season to two. I think now it might be going on season 3, but it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. You get a job, and I know it's recurring, but then it seems to sort of recur to regular. You know what I mean? And it's like, ooh, next thing I know, I'm back in the studio. It's another paycheck, but it's really another chance to have some fun. I don't, especially during COVID times, but rarely am I in the studio with anyone else but me and the director. So I get to hear the other people, and so sometimes I get to respond to what I hear. But it's not like back in the days when we were doing Gargoyles. Sometimes there would be 8 of us in the studio at the same time. So
Oh wow, so it shifted and changed over the years, huh? Because I've never experienced what you experienced with other people in the studio. It's usually just been me.
Oh, it's really wonderful. I mean, and you know how you got to play to the mic. So somebody may be
Right.
sitting right next to you. You can't really do this. You know,
Right.
you got to play right to the mic. But every once in a while, you can kind of do that. Stay on mic and talk to them. Or if it's just the two of you, you position them so that you can look at them. I mean, there's all kind of tricks. But most of the time you are by yourself, but it's nothing like being in the room with the people. I mean, it's just different. I'm not, you can't say it's better. I mean, I like it a little bit better, but you can't always have that.
No, you can't. So just before I let you get up on out of here, what what would you say is something that you would recall and it just makes you laugh out loud that's happened throughout this long illustrious career that you have experienced and are continuing to experience? Because if you don't have a moment, I got one that we shared.
Uh, there are, I want to hear that one, but there's I mean, there's stuff to make you laugh every day. I mean, and if you don't, you better, I mean, because it's, I'm a black man in America. It's easy to walk around pissed off about a whole lot of stuff.
This is true.
However, I choose, I mean, I'm not gonna let them, whoever they are, or the world, make me lose my sense of humor. It's hard enough to keep. There's a whole lot of things that can make you lose your cookies. But I think when my daughter said to me, Daddy, if you ever have a bad moment, think about me. And
That is precious. I can't.
and so I can and I do. So that I mean that's a gift. Now she
That
said
is
it to me when she was a little girl. Now she's 16. So of course, but
because I think the last time I
I
saw her,
remind
she
her of
was
that.
little. Mm.
I mean, but I remind her of that. You told me that. So, I mean, I can always use that. I can always go back to that. Whenever I want to go off in the world, you know, uh, and want to use a couple of old Nebraska cuss words, but first of all, I think about, is it, you know, my my new way of being is it necessary to be said? Is it necessary to be said by me? Is it necessary to be said by me right now?
Okay.
And if it doesn't meet those criteria, then I keep I keep it to myself because
Well, it's like my mom always said, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all.
what,
You know,
and my mama used to say, everybody you don't have to always say what you think.
you don't. Some things are better left unsaid, honey. We better be popping off the colloquialisms or the sayings. Before I let you get out of here, one more question. Michael B says, were you pissed when they killed you off and they lived? Because he was mad for you.
um, you know, I I wish it wouldn't have come as quite as a surprise as it did. You know, but I guess I mean, it couldn't have been her. I mean, at least they waited to the end.
Alrighty then.
At least
At
it was.
least right. At least it wasn't halfway through.
I was it was the very end of the movie, and just when you thought the brother was gonna make it, he did. You know, and betrayed by a friend. You know what I mean? Oh shit! Oh boom! But
Well,
you
I
know,
am one friend that will never betray you. I love. Oh, look at your little dad cup. That's so cute. I love that. Yay. I love that you took time out of your Sunday to come and play with me over here on the Curvy Critic. I adore you. And
I,
I wish that we would see each other more often, but we will when things get back to whatever the normal is going to be. I'll see you then. Please
let me
give your
know.
wife and your daughters a big old hug for me.
I sure will.
All right, baby. Bye.
Ciao.
You guys, I love me some KeithDavid. That is my boy. I love him. He is just the best. He is the best, the best, the best. Ugh. So anyway, I had an interview with Rosalind Eleazar, who is in the personal history of David Copperfield. And I wanted to play this interview for you guys before we get up out of here at the end of the day. So without further ado, here is my interview with Rosalind. I really love period pieces, and I was so jealous to see you in this film because I very rarely see us in period pieces. And so I just wondered how you felt about that, because you're in period pieces a lot. Like, that seems to be your jam.
Yeah, no, I feel like I've done more period than I have modern somehow, but this one in particular meant much more to me because they didn't place me as the maid or the prostitute or any of the other things. And whilst there's nothing wrong in playing those parts never really develop, and they're kind of just a showpiece. You know, she's sweet. I never get to play sweet. And she's kind, and, you know, I was saying earlier, you know, she's the girl that the guy ends up with, you know, that usually doesn't go to someone who I remember when I first got the audition through, when I looked at it and I was like, yeah, as if that's going to ever go to me. But I was like, you know what, I haven't met this casting director, let me do a good job, and so on and so forth. And then lo and behold, it was actually very serious, and Armando offered the job to me. Honestly, I get quite emotional thinking about this because I think it's one of the first times it's been done, and I hope it will be the start of many more, because I think it shows with all the casting in this film that, you know, we can tell you a human story too, and
yeah,
it doesn't necessarily have to be about race. I can just be a human in this period.
I love that, and that's one of the things that I loved about the personal history of David Copperfield. It was a multiracial cast, and not one time when I was watching it was I like, oh, that person's black instead. Oh, what's happening? I never once looked at it and felt some kind of way about it. I was so excited, and it was refreshing, and it was done extremely well. I enjoyed that so much. How did you feel about the colorblind casting?
I was wondering before, because I'd never really seen it, how it would make me feel when I first watched it. You know, obviously Armando went one, you know, with parents and children. It was all mix and match. And I remember watching the scene between Nikki Amuka Bird, who is Mrs. Steerforth, she's just the most incredible actress.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I noticed it, and that's it. And then I got on with the story. I wasn't, if I'm being honest, I wasn't like, oh, I didn't even, but how quickly I accepted that this is my reality for the next 2 hours.
Because it's the world's reality. So I was glad that the world's reality was reflected in cinema for once. I was so excited about that. And especially in a Dickens piece, you know, because Dickens stories have no ethnicity to them. They're human stories. They're not ethnic stories. So I was excited about that. And I know that this is your film debut. So congratulations on that. You do a lot of television, Harlots, and the endless list goes on. You have done so much in such a short period of time. What was that like for you to have your film debut after doing so much television and to work with Armando?
Honestly, I just couldn't believe my luck. For my first job, for it to have been with that cast and crew who were just so lovely and so welcoming and so collaborative. No one was a diva. It was honestly one of the happiest periods of my life. And Armando is just so sweet and funny and silly. And he makes you feel so comfortable, because obviously I'm shitting myself, obviously, because it's my first film. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be in a scene with Tilda and Hugh and Dad. And then 5 minutes in, the way that everyone is, all of your preconceived ideas are, you know, poof. And that doesn't always happen. You know, in TV, I've worked with some people and it's been a nightmare. There's obviously a big culture of diva-ish attitude that I think is rather unnecessary when it starts to affect the whole cast and crew. But this was nothing short of a dreamboat. I would love to make Copperfield too. Basically, I just want to make Copperfield too.
I'm right there with you. I'd love to see Copperfield too. I'm down for the cause. And just in rounding it out, my dear, what is your favorite Charles Dickens novel?
Oliver Twist.
Ooh, why?
I don't know. I don't know whether it's because just when I was younger, that's just the book. I don't know. I just think he's so sweet. And I love Nancy. I think she's a brilliant character. Maybe it's because I secretly want to play her. I don't know.
I was going to say, maybe you should, instead of doing Copperfield 2, you should be doing a remake of Oliver Twist. I'm just saying. Who would you want to play? Girl, yeah, I'll direct. You going to bring me to London? I'll be there in a jiffy, honey. I wanted to thank you for taking time out of your dinner hour to talk with me. I really appreciated it. I enjoyed you in this film so much, and I'm so happy for the beginnings of your career, and I'm looking forward to many more wonderful projects coming out of your career moving forward.
Thank you. You're going to make me cry. All right.
Oh, don't cry, girl. Don't cry. I loved talking to her. I had to cut the conversation a little short, but I loved talking to her. The Personal History of David Copperfield is produced by Searchlight Pictures. It is directed by Armando Iannucci. It stars Rosalind Elazar and Dev Patel and Tilda Swinton. If you are a Charles Dickens buff, if you love his novel, or if you love the David Copperfield book from Charles Dickens, you will absolutely adore The Personal History of David Copperfield. I personally liked it because it was non-traditional casting. And like I said in the interview, Charles Dickens's stories are not conducive to what color somebody is. It's a human story, and it is reflective of the world that we live in today. And Rosalind is absolutely fantastic in it, in her feature film debut. So let's give her a little applause and woo for that. And make sure that you guys see that. Before I get up out of here, I want to talk a little bit about the DC fandom, but I'm going to show you this little quick video that I made from that before I get out of here. Here we go. Hey, it's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. Baby, the DC fandom might be over, but I was living for all of it. For Chris, for Gal, for Patty, for Kristen, for Pedro, a special pop-in by Venus Williams. And if that weren't enough, there was another special pop-in from the OG Wonder Woman herself, Miss Linda Carter. We got some fan art. We got a special Sandman panel hosted by my girl Yvette Nicole Brown. The new Catwoman Javicia popped in, and there was a Suicide Squad panel with my girl Storm Reed. It was off and cracking. Go to DC Fandom and check it all out. You will lose your mind, because I sure did. Love, peace, and hair. Yes, I did lose my mind because I am the last of the blurred geeks. I was so excited when Linda Carter showed up on that screen. I was excited to see my girl Yvette Nicole Brown do a panel. I was excited for so much chocolate that is being involved in terms of the actors that are being featured in the DC comic universe. So if you want to know more about that, go to dcfandom.com, and I think they have some pictures and videos and stuff up from yesterday, or you can just go and look at the trailers on their YouTube website. It was awesome, and it lasted all day. And then after all of that fantabulousness, we went and we boogied with a blurred DJ Nice situation. So it was great. I'm not going to go through the reviews that I have for you guys, but I am going to encourage you to see Skin, Tesla, The 24th, Chemical Hearts, and Words on Bathroom Walls. I'm also, but okay, so I just want to say something real quick about The 24th. The 24th is this movie. So we always know, everybody knows about Glory, the movie with the one that Denzel Washington won his first Oscar for, and it starred Matthew Broderick and Morgan Freeman and Andre Braugher. We all know about that. We all know about the 54th Infantry, but nobody knew about the 24th. And I was particularly interested in it because I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and it told me a whole nother story about that particular regiment, the 24th. They were outside in East St. Louis, Illinois. So I was like, what? I had no idea. I grew up in Missouri my whole life, had no clue about the 24th. So thank you to Kevin Willamette and Trey Byers from Empire for bringing that to light. You guys should really check that out if you have an opportunity. Again, the films I'm recommending this week are Chemical Hearts, Words on Bathroom Walls, Tesla, Skin, and did I say the 24th? I said 24th. Also, tomorrow, you guys can catch me at the American Cinematique site. I will be doing a Q&A with the creator and Emmy Award nominated woman, Robin Thede, who made history, and so did her co-creator Dime. So me, Robin, and Dime at American Cinematique tomorrow evening. Go to that website to get more information from it. I will try to put a link to it in the description of this video. If this is your first time joining me for The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, we stream on YouTube and Facebook live every Sunday at 5 o'clock. Give me a big old thumbs up to let me know you were here. I'd also like to thank my boy KeithDavid. I'd like to thank Searchlight Pictures, and I'd like to thank Rosalind Elazar for talking to me this week. Next week, y'all, I have Sunjata Day. We're going to talk about her film, and she'll be here live as well. And I'll have some more movie reviews for you then. So until the next time, love, peace, and hair grease. I love y'all. Bye.